What's going on, LEGO Maniacs? It's Ty, the LEGO guy here, and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars review. Today we're taking a look at the highly debated Imperial TIE Fighter. That's set 75300. It has 432 pieces, 3 minifigs, retails for $40 US, and it came out in 2021. Some people hate this set, some people love this set, some people feel it's to scale, others think it's not. We're gonna take a look at its positives and its negatives, and we're gonna find out if it is to scale or if it's not. And we're gonna do that by taking a look at like encyclopedias, at actual pics of the ship. This one should get interesting, but enough talk, let's get right into it. And to start us off, we'll begin by taking a look at the box. Now, what I found interesting about this one, as opposed maybe previous TIE Fighters we got in the past, is if you notice, in the top right corner you see Darth Vader, but then you also see the Death Star 2. Generally, these are always based off of the Battle of Yavin, and you'll see them in the trench. You know, they're defending the first Death Star. But this one, they went ahead and they made the box art for Episode 6. So technically, I would say that this TIE Fighter is based off of Episode 6, although they're identical from 4 to 6. Just an interesting point I thought I'd mention. In the bottom right corner, you'll see all the figs. So this is the first time we've got NIL8, I believe. Happy to get them. And then on the side, you have the TIE Fighter again, and on the back, literally it just shows its one feature, which is a spring-loaded shooter, and the TIE Fighter in a hangar bay, which is interesting. On the side, not too much, but then on the bottom, talks about the Skywalker saga, which we're still waiting for, and on the top, just the TIE Fighter pilot. Anyways, that pretty well does the box. Let's now get into the set itself. And to start us off, we'll begin by giving you guys a 360 view of the TIE Fighter. And as you guys can see, it's not a terrible looking TIE. You can definitely tell what it is when you look at it, even though some say it is undersized. Nice looking engine detail. It could have a little bit more, but not going to complain. The TIE engine actually isn't too elaborate. If they were to really make it accurate, it would require really the UCS model to kind of do it, just because that mid-engine actually is quite detailed. But let's now break it down area by area. So one of the first things you'll probably notice is it has some spring-loaded shooters on the bottom. We all know how those kind of work. You just literally push it in, or I should say down, and then it shoots it off. Nothing too crazy right there. It has actually a nice printed piece. I will say about this model, there are no stickers, so I did appreciate that. You'll notice that it has the cockpit piece is quite detailed, or over the cockpit piece I should say, and you can very easily just lift it. Well, actually, it's best to open up like so and then lift it. And that reveals the TIE pilot's little cockpit. There is no computer piece there, but I will say I do like those thrusters or joysticks. This is actually one of my favorite little cockpits they've ever made for the TIE, and I don't believe that the cockpit itself is undersized. I actually think it is accurate to scale. However, where we're gonna get a little nitpicky about right here is these wings. So we're gonna take a look at some actual pictures at the encyclopedia like we mentioned, just to really break down this TIE and whether it is to scale. I am gonna say though that it is not to scale as far as the wings. The wings should be taller. We're actually gonna find out what the exact height of it, or what the height of the wings are supposed to be in the encyclopedia. But all in all, I still think that this captures it, and I do think it's not a bad idea to make it a little bit more accessible for people, if it is a little cheaper. One area though that I have to knock it for is, why are these little Technic pieces, why are they dark gray? Why didn't they just make it light gray? That is not movie accurate. I mean, these are supposed to all be light gray wings on the sides, right? Or in the front, I should say. And they went with dark gray. I'm not sure why they did that, but that's the way they made it. It's not a big deal, it's just a little bit of a knock. Just to give you guys a little bit closer view of the side of the wing, it actually has a printed piece right here as well. And I do like the design, like it actually looks quite good. And again, on the back, you can see the engines, which are actually pretty good, especially for this size. Anyways, that pretty well does the set. What we're gonna do now is take a look at the minifigs. And here we have the minifigs. So in the middle, we have NIL8. One of the main reasons a lot of you guys may be buying the set, just because he is unique to this one. You also have a Stormtrooper and a TIE Pilot. Now I will say, a lot of you guys won't be buying the set for the TIE Pilot, but I do love these silver little lines that run up his helmet. I don't recall seeing that on any previous TIE Pilot. Maybe the one that was included in the UCS TIE Fighter, but it's a sick looking TIE Pilot. Give you guys a little bit of a 360 view of them. They all have back torso printing, no back face printing for either of them. However, an improvement over this one is they actually have different face printing than what we're kind of used to. So there is no generic face, like sometimes they throw angry clone faces on these guys. They both have unique face printing, which I thought was a definite positive. In the past, they would have just given us some angry clone faces and called her a day, but they did one better than that. Gave us some unique faces. Not unique, but just, you know, not the same generic face that we're so used to getting with, you know, figs like these. Anyways, those are the minifigures. Let's now get into the movie pics just to see how accurate this set really is. And the first picture I thought we could take a look at is actually from an encyclopedia, and I love doing this. It just adds a little bit more detail. If you guys want to pause it, you can look up the info. But the main thing I wanted to mention with this picture is notice under height, it says that the TIE Fighter is a little over 9 meters tall, or about 30 feet tall. Why that's so important is if you stack 4 minifigs, which are supposed to be roughly about 6 feet tall, maybe a little less, definitely less than 2 meters, the TIE Fighter is about 4 minifigs tall. Under that logic, this TIE Fighter should at least be another minifig in height, and then you'd have the perfect TIE Fighter as far as height goes. So this TIE Fighter is definitely decent looking, but it's not to scale. It should be a bit taller, and that's why it looks a little disproportionate. Anyways, sorry to get overly detailed. I just think it really answers that question. Let's now move on to the next pic. And here we have our next picture. This one's really good because it gives us a rear and a front view of the TIE Fighter. And as you can see, it looks quite similar to the LEGO set. The cockpit actually looks really similar. They did a very good job considering its size. The wings, on the other hand, like we've been saying, they're not tall enough. They should be about 6 feet or 2 meters taller in height, roughly. But all in all, I think that this definitely does a decent job at it. And for the price point, it's actually really good considering some people, if they don't want to pay too much money, you know, if it's a kid saving for a TIE Fighter, he can more easily get it, but it's definitely not to scale, but it's still a decent looking model. Let's now get into the end of the review and get my final thoughts. Well guys, that was my review. Do hope you enjoyed it. I have to say, I think that this set is a fair price. It is relatively sizable, but it is not accurate to scale. I mean, I love the fact that we got that picky to find out, and you can see that the cockpit looks good. I think the cockpit is actually to scale, but the wings are just too short. They should be a little bit taller, and we'd have the perfect TIE Fighter. It would probably run it up another 10 US, I'm guessing, but I would have preferred they do that than just make something that's inaccurate, right? Not that I'm a huge minifig, you know, to scale purist, but when the ship itself, the cockpit is just a little bit too oversized. All in all, I still think that this is a decent model. It's just not perfect. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this one, if you like it, if you don't, any areas you think they could maybe improve on it, whether it be, you know, what I said or some other area that I didn't even think about. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. But if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and click that bell so you're notified for any future LEGO Star Wars reviews, comparisons, etc. We do something Star Wars related every Tuesday, and yeah, they're a lot of fun. But yeah, that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.